There we go.
All right, let's see here. Now, what else do I need to do to get this stupid thing to actually push to Facebook Live? Let's see here.
Hear that, Hayden? We're going live. No penis. No penis jokes.
No penis. Got it.
Good job, bud.
Yes, sir.
How's everyone doing?
It is.
Good.
Yeah.
Hoping the rain holds out a little bit tonight. I don't want to be driving around in the rain all night.
You
Yeah.
delivering tonight?
Yeah.
Nice.
I signed up for Grubhub today.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
I'm thinking about doing something. I'm still figuring out that car situation, but I might do like DoorDash or something just
Yeah.
when I have time. We shall
Okay.
see.
All right, Facebook's what? Have any of you guys used Zoom to push to Facebook before? Because this is being a pain.
I have not.
Well, bear with me as I figure out this thing because it's
You're
It's
good.
all good.
Streaming is hard. It's always a pain.
like if it's one thing if I were just running it from Facebook or what, but I actually wanted it to actually record and everything like that because I was telling I'm gonna be it'll all be on my podcast and stuff too. So I'm gonna take everything, edit it. Plus, it's nice to actually have the video and stuff up. So
For sure.
let's see. No, not that one. There we go. Next. All right, let me see if this thing will not fight me. I should be used to doing all the Zoom crap because all my day job stuff I've been doing nonstop meetings and
Yeah.
not much fun.
Mm-mm. We've been using Zoom and Google Hangouts as well.
Zoom or Google Hangouts, I haven't used in a while. It generally, like, especially for like the one-on-one and two, like some of the stuff it actually works really well for.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I decided to do this was or do the whole Zoom thing was because, well, that way I could push it to Facebook without any issue and stuff like that. I didn't know if I was going to need to or want to, but I figured I might as well just drop the extra few bucks to do it.
Yeah, it seems like it works better for like recording stuff too, because I haven't tried recording with Hangouts, but it seems kind of messy.
I don't think
Yeah.
you can.
I don't know that you can. At least not in high quality. Like I'm actually for this, there's actually cloud storage for Zoom, but it's only like a gig on there. So video wise, that's not going to hold that much. But I have it just set to record directly to my computer, so I'll be able to pull it apart pretty easily from there. So, all right.
Zoom feels more reliable than Google.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. Title. Let's see, print.
This whole time we're actually live and we're just giving an honest view on Zoom and Google.
Right.
That's our take on the differences between
All right.
Zoom and Google.
I swear.
Hangouts.
What did I do? Why is it not?
Dude, Reno and I were trying to like live stream our video games and it was equally as much of a pain.
Well, you had to do like so much work to even get it to go.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see here. You would think this would be easier, but it is what it is. What's it doing now?
It started streaming live on Facebook.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, it is?
Left corner.
Okay, cool. So, in theory, this is working.
Wow. Hello, Facebook.
Hopefully it is.
Right. If not, whatever. It's still going to be on the podcast and everything like that. But, well, and I guess since we're now actually live, might as well start this off right. Guys, I am Jay Wendell with the Midwest Metal Show, and I am here with all three of the guys from Pray for Sleep. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Well, how you doing, man?
I'm kind of waiting for another storm to roll through because I'm basically in the same area you guys. I mean, I'm in
Yeah.
Powell, so I'm not very far from you guys at all. So,
Yeah.
Looking like a wall of clouds.
right.
Well, you never know here, honestly. It could be snowing today. We would have no idea.
Well, really, I don't know that people understand how stupid the weather in Ohio actually gets. So,
Oh,
It doesn't make sense.
no,
Yeah.
it never, ever makes sense. So, hold on a second here. I'm actually going to click on the Facebook video thing because in case anybody actually asks questions or anything like that, I can actually pay attention to it.
Nifty.
Well, I say I'll pay attention to it, probably won't. But so exciting times for you guys. Well, weird times for you guys. You've now released an album in the middle of a pandemic.
yeah.
There's a first for everything.
Right. There's not many people that can say that they released their debut album when people aren't even supposed to be leaving their homes.
Yeah.
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 It's
But
kinda,
there's kind of a nice flip side to that, which means because since people are going to be at home and not doing as much, you'd like to think that people are going to give it a better listen too, opposed to how one track might like people flip from one thing to another so quickly that it's funny. I think people are actually listening to the music they're getting a lot more thoroughly again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
think
seems to be that way.
I think the whole idea behind like releasing it now instead of waiting until we can like throw a tour behind it is it really started when I was like cleaning out my basement and I listened to an album and I was like, man, I really need this album right now because like, music's awesome and people are going through stuff. And I was like, I told the guys that, hey, we just need to release our album right now. And we did it.
Well, you guys have been becoming more and more prominent. First time I ran into you guys was at Rock on the Range. And it was great seeing all the people running around in their graduation caps and gowns because turns out, let's see, it was two of you that were missing the graduation, correct?
Yeah, at the time it was our old singer and me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was wild.
And, yeah, it was such a weird thing, and people paid so much more attention to you guys than a lot of the bands that have won like any of the Battle of Bands things or anything like that before. And I think that kind of just made it that much cooler that people realize, oh, hey, these kids, there's kids missing their graduation and go play Rock on the Range. Let's go check them out.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that story-
We weren't really much.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
You're good.
No, I mean, I think, well, everybody was kind of fascinated too. I mean, you guys got more attention in the media room than a lot of the bigger bands did, honestly.
I think we can thank our dads for that because we, told them that, hey, we're gonna do this thing, and they were like, oh, it's actually happening. They were like, we're gonna offer to help you guys, and we were like, okay. And they rocked it. They got us all the interviews that we were on that day, and they got us all the news. It was like our dads, like our dadagers. they were a huge help for sure, but it's also a really cool story.
Yeah, it was an easy story to kind of ship to people. Like, hey, this is something unusual that's happening. Do you want to talk to these random high school kids?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I think we spent like 4 hours in that media tent, just kind of like hanging out, chatting with different people for the rest of the day.
Honestly,
Like,
it might have been more than that. Well, because like it was funny because the whole process, like including like entering the contest and doing all that stuff, we're still like this, but especially so back then, we literally expected nothing to come from it. We were like, oh, cool, this is another show we can go play.
Right.
But, we played, I think we played around like 12:30 that day. It was like right when it opened up. And
Yeah,
then at first we were like, yeah. So we were like, okay, why are there people here? There was like probably a couple hundred people watching. We were like, okay, that was weird. And then our dads were like, hey, we're going to the media tent. And they kind of told us we had a couple interviews, but we expected like, well, to go talk to 3 people and then go eat and then watch people for the rest of the day. But yeah, we were probably in there for like 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were just like,
It's
this
like-
is insane.
Yeah, it was like going in there, we were like, oh, cool, we got like 2 or 3 interviews. And then they were like, here's your schedule. You have interviews for the next 5 hours. Have fun.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was nonstop. You guys were just going from basically table to table, talking to pretty much everybody. I mean, it was a cool experience, actually. So you guys know my good friend from Rock Rage, Hillary Lee. I thought it was funny. I don't know if you guys know this, but you were her first interview ever that she did.
Yeah, we actually
that's what I heard.
talked to her about that a little bit during the interview. And we've talked to her. We've worked with her a couple times since then, so that's come up a few times.
I may or may not have thrown her under the bus. She was all excited about the whole thing, and it's like, you know what? Guess what? This is about to become your first interview. So,
Nice.
oh, she was salty with me initially too, because it was that whole thing. It's like I didn't know what to say, I didn't know what to do. But
Yeah.
hey, no better way to learn, and it was one of those things that was very, very exciting for her. So, but let's talk a little bit about you guys, because there's obviously a lot of people that do not know you guys yet. And I mean, Columbus area, mid Ohio and further, you are becoming more and more well known. But I also have people all over the place listening and everything like that. So let's go individually. Tell me a little bit about yourselves, since the person who's biggest on my screen right now is Reno. I'll just make him start.
Sweet. So me personally, as far as like music goes, I'm one of those people that like always knew I wanted to do music because my dad's a drummer. So he kind of like, people always ask, they're like, how long have you been playing drums? And I really can't give them a straight answer, because I'm like, do you want to know when I figured out that I was playing drums, or when I started hitting them and had no idea what I was doing? Because, 2 different answers there. But so I've been playing drums my whole life. My mom's, she did like a lot of music just throughout her life. She was a music teacher for a really long time. She can sing, play piano, everything. So I've always been like surrounded by it in some shape or form. But I knew like all I want to do is I want to play drums in a band, like professionally, as a job. Like that's all I want to do. So I've always been, I've been in other bands before this one. Before I was actually, it's really funny. Grant's girlfriend now, I was in a band with her back in elementary school. I think it was like 5th grade to like 8th grade maybe. But, we actually played around a decent amount, not the same way that we do now, obviously, but, we'd go play at churches and different stuff like that. So I kind of started to get into like playing out and all that stuff. But then how Hayden and I met was I actually played in like a parade, basically. And I just posted a video on, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And we had a mutual friend that was like, hey, I know you play guitar. This guy plays drums. You guys should like, meet. So he just messaged me and was like, hey, I know you have no idea who I am, but I saw that you play drums. Do you want to jam sometime? And then it was the funniest thing telling my parents, like, hey, this guy named Hayden is coming to our house today. And they were like, what? Like thinking it's some like adult dude that's going to come over and play like jam with me. Like they were really concerned. But yeah, Hayden and I hit it off really soon after that. And then Grant I've known for, I don't even know how long at this point. It's been forever. But that's kind of how all of this started.
So, all right. So, since we were just talking about Hayden, you're next.
Well, I started playing guitar when I was probably 9. I think Santa gave me a guitar, and I got really excited. And my dad, he showed me Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, and he was like, "Would you play something like this?" And I was like, "Maybe, maybe not." So I learned it, and then he was like, "All right, you actually like followed through, you know." And I have ADD, so that's like big. And he showed me like all of White Stripes songs, and I spent the next couple years like learning everything that I could. And then it went from like White Stripes to Queens of the Stone Age, and then from Queens of the Stone Age I got to like end of middle school, early high school, so I started listening to like angsty like metal, like Slipknot, and and then I was really like a blues rock kind of baby, but then I met Reno, and basically I just wanted to be in a band and like being a successful band. And Reno was like, well, this is the music that I had listened to and play, and it was like Beartooth and all the metalcore bands and stuff. So I basically forced myself to learn. It wasn't really necessarily my genre, but yeah, I just learned a bunch of stuff, and now we're here. I love metalcore now. Y'all
I
changed.
corrupted him.
It
You did.
grows on you.
Man, you make it sound like you hate metal music.
I
and
did,
you're
dude.
in a metal
I
band in an
seriously,
interview.
I was not into screaming. Like the heaviest I got was Slipknot. They scream, but like that was like my
Or
exception.
like Corey Taylor screams. It's a little different.
It's a little different.
Well,
I was
it was
weird.
funny because I got you with when you first came over. I grew up on like the 80s music stuff. So I was like, I play this stuff a lot. And then Haven's like, this isn't too far off. And then I went, and this, and then showed him all the metalcore stuff. And he goes, oh, what?
Nice. And I was playing on a Dan Electro 59. So it's a hollow body, just standard tuning guitar on my Line 6 Spider. It was great.
That was so funny.
And
Yeah.
somehow we ended up here.
Oh man, speaking of wonderful Ohio weather, that storm
I know.
started up.
It's getting dark out there.
Oh, it's pouring right here, over here right now. I have like a sliding glass door here, so I can see like my grill is actually moving. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm supposed to do some yard work today. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Nah,
yeah, same.
I think you're gonna have to take a pass on that.
I'm fine with that, man.
So, I think let's see, Grant.
Yeah, so as far as like musical history goes, I started on piano when I was in early elementary school, and I took classical piano lessons for like 7 years, I think. I hated it. But I'm really glad that my parents made me learn, because it's helped a lot with like music theory and some of the more like complicated and like technical stuff as far as like theory and that kind of stuff goes, because I didn't really learn any of that in guitar lessons, but I had that background through piano. And then from there I got a guitar in 7th grade. My parents bought me one, so I started there. Always wanted to play like rock music and that kind of stuff. I grew up here in Columbus listening to Radio U a lot, so found a lot of the bands that I listened to through that, like The Devil Wears Prada and August Burns Red and Demon Hunter and those kind of like metal bands.
Right.
And then from there, started playing electric guitar. Actually went over to acoustic guitar for a while, and got classical acoustic guitar lessons for a couple of years. And I've been playing acoustic guitar and singing in a worship band at my church since I was in like 8th grade, I think. And then from there, I actually joined the band as a guitarist when we had our other vocalist. Kind of always wanted to be in a rock band, didn't really have the guts to start a band on my own, so I joined Reno's band because I knew him for a while. It's like, hey, do you guys know somebody that needs a guitarist? And he was like, we kind of need a guitarist. I was like, sweet, we'll start there. And then so that was, I joined at the beginning of 2018. Yeah, 2018. And then at the end of 2018, our other vocalist, Cameron, left the band, and I kind of transitioned from guitarist and backup vocals to just lead vocals. And we've been kind of running that way since. So yeah, big transition for me
Transitions,
being the
that's not
shy
really the right
introvert.
word.
What?
I think you were more thrown into it. I don't think transition is
Yeah,
gives it
I kind
justice.
of got, so sliding into the front man position might not be the right choice. I kind of got pushed a little bit
Yeah.
because we needed it, but the transition there, it's been
It's funny.
it's been an interesting one. First couple of outings were a little bit, I mean, I've always been like a very shy and introverted kid, never really wanted to be the center of attention. So kind of moving into that position where I'm at the front of the stage has been interesting. But I've gotten in the past year and a half now,
Yeah.
gotten a lot more comfortable with it and started enjoying it a lot more. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's been really exciting for sure, but some interesting times along the way.
I think it's so. Has it become more for you, like obviously being introverted and everything like that? Does it feel like you're kind of flipping a switch to a degree when you're actually singing or on stage or anything like that?
Yeah, sometimes it definitely, I mean, sometimes it feels like an effort. It's gotten to a point, I think, where I like the music, and it feels like I'm able to just kind of express myself a little bit differently than I'm used to. It
Right.
doesn't feel like I'm trying to be like the center of attention or anything. It just feels like I'm up there and I'm doing something that I love. So it doesn't feel like I'm forcing anything or anything like that. It definitely did at the beginning. I think those first couple of shows, it was like, I really got to like try to get myself to do this kind of. But along the way, it's gotten a lot easier and more comfortable, for sure.
So one thing that, especially being local to you guys in the first place, I get to see a lot of the things you guys are doing mental health wise as far as pushing that message out there. I mean, obviously there was heck, for months and months, I know there was always the ads on 99.7, the local station here, about the Scream Back campaign and everything like that, going to schools, talking to people going through a lot of, I mean, I don't know that it's funny. I think a lot of people who like rock music and stuff like that in general, a lot of them didn't have a great time growing up, and a lot of them didn't have a great time making it through school with the people around them and everything like that. What was your experience like? What drove you to start pushing in that direction?
Yeah, I think we kind of landed there because that was the boat that we were all in. I know we, when the band was first kind of getting its footing and getting things started, we all wanted to have a big focus on mental health and mental health awareness, because it was something that was very personal for all of us and affected all of us through like middle and high school, especially. And we know that we did a lot of research and found that, you know, middle school and high school is where a lot of that starts for students, and it's one of the most impacted demographics as far as mental behavioral health goes. I mean, the genre of music we landed on was partially because it's the kind of music that we like and like to listen to and like to play, but also there's research that shows that people that are struggling with mental and behavioral health conditions and struggles like that are typically drawn towards the heavier music, whether it's for expression or like a kind of release. So the focus there kind of came from, you know, it was something that we experienced, and music as a whole was something that helped us through our times and our harder times in middle and high school. And we wanted to kind of, our goal was to kind of be that for other people as much as we could be.
So on top of that, there's the on our sleeves. So tell me a little bit about the on our sleeves thing.
Yeah, that's a program that's run by Nationwide Children's Hospital. They are our what is it? They're the official education partner or sponsor for the Screen Back program. So they've given us a lot of resources as far as like helplines, studies, statistics, and things like that, to support the program, so that we have, you know, professional advice and resources behind us, and it's not just a bunch of band kids trying to go, you know, talk
Right.
nice to people. But so yeah, that's run by Nationwide Children's. It's their youth-focused mental behavioral health awareness campaign that they launched in the fall of 2018, I think, was the local launch, and then they just recently did their nationwide launch, I believe. Was that what that was, right? And they opened their mental and behavioral health pavilion in downtown that's sponsored by Big Lots. So they're doing a lot of mental health focused stuff, and they kind of started it off with the On Our Sleeves campaign. And you'll see there's billboards and big signs posted all around Columbus right now about the On Our Sleeves program, and they're kind of expanding from here now.
Well, not that most of us are downtown or anything like that much at the moment, but
Yeah.
Fair.
But so while a lot of people obviously haven't been able to play any live shows, that's not entirely accurate for you guys. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we've been obviously trying to do a bunch of stuff at home while we can. So, we released a video for one of our new songs, Blood Is Not Blue, that we, recorded ourselves and put it together ourselves, all separate, that type of thing. But our manager actually, because we have, our weekly, bi-weekly meetings, whatever it is. And he brought up an idea. He said, hey, I have this friend, and he lives, in the Westerville area, which is where Grant and I are at. And he said his whole family got coronavirus, actually. And he said he's been struggling with that. And
all recovered, so that's good.
They all recovered, which is, I wanted to point that out, which is awesome. But another thing with him is he's a little bit older, and he's wanted to come to one of our shows for a long time. But a lot of the places that we play at, there's not necessarily like a place to sit down, or it's like, kind of crowded, like small spaces and stuff. So it never really ended up working out. So he's like, I have this idea, because I want to give him credit. We helped with the idea, but like the main idea was his, vision. So major props to him. But the idea was like, hey, let's go rent a flatbed truck, drive it up to his house, and just play a show for him there. We were like, that is the coolest idea ever. Yes. So yeah, that's basically what we did. We met up at a church parking lot. It was Shamrock Towing that helped us out. Major props to them as well. So, they provided the truck for us. We brought all of our stuff, and then our friend Caleb at Anecdote Productions actually filmed it. So I think we're going to be releasing footage of that eventually, just kind of showing the process of what we did. Right. But, we drove up to his house, and what we really expected is for the cops to get called on us within 5 minutes. So we actually, I thought about that, and I said, hey, let's call the non-emergency line and like let them know, like, hey, we're going to go play like 5 songs and then leave. So like if you get a noise complaint, that's us. Sorry.
Please be merciful.
Yeah, please don't arrest us. But thankfully that did not happen, which was awesome. But it was funny because, we pulled up, and some of his family knew that we were coming, but he had no idea. So they just had him sitting outside, and we pulled up, and then we were like, hey, how's it going? And then basically by the end of it, because we kept looking around between songs, because it was kind of we had like a plan going in, but as far as like the songs go, we kind of had to throw it together because we haven't really been able to practice.
Right.
So we'd be like in between songs, and we'd all be like looking around for a second, and I'm like, there's people coming outside. And by the end of it, I don't know, guys, that's probably like what, 80 people outside or something crazy.
Yeah, it was I would say probably like 60, 70, but yeah, it was way more than I would have expected to see in a neighborhood, just coming out to watch some loud boys on a truck.
And it's crazy too, because like, there's the stereotype of like only a certain type of people like metal music, which even we know that's not true. But like you still kind of have that in your head, like subconsciously you're like, oh, people are probably gonna, or this is not everybody's thing, whatever. But I'm looking around, and I'm like, there is a 70-year-old lady over there dancing to our songs, and there's a 6-year-old kid dancing to our songs, and I'm like, this is like, it was super cool, but it was just like, you totally don't expect that. You're like, usually it's people like our age range, a little bit older, whatever, that have
Right.
listened to this forever. But like those people were like, we're just excited to have music and like see people. We were like, this is awesome. Like it was one of the coolest things I done like as a band. Like it was just, I don't know, it was crazy, especially with mental health, bringing that back up. It's been like, I mean, I know firsthand, but like I know for everyone, it's been like really hard being stuck inside and not having all like the distractions you normally have of like, a lot of people aren't working still, and like you're not, they're opening stuff back up a little bit, but you're still not really able to go out and do what you normally would do. So it's been a lot harder. So it was cool to like, you could see like they were having a good time and we were providing something for them, and that's all we ever want to do. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and another really neat thing we've gotten to do, we got to participate in a digital rally at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
The We Are the Majority rally. It was supposed to be an in-person rally where they bring a bunch of schools from around the city together, and they bring some students and a couple of speakers. It's an anti-drug, alcohol prevention style kind of rally that they do, where we participated in it last year, where they had a couple bands played some songs. They had a couple of speakers, and then they actually did like a march to the State House. Obviously, with the quarantine and stuff, they couldn't run it that way this year, but they reworked it into a digital rally, and we got to participate in that. So we actually had the chance. We went to a studio that they were working with, kind of set all of our stuff up there, and they recorded it and put it together in a digital format that's out there. So that was also really cool. It was a fun opportunity to kind of get together and just jam for a little while. But
It was
we're
really
putting
cool.
stuff together to do another streamed show. We're working with the studio. I think, what is it, June 5th?
Yeah,
Right?
June 5th.
Yeah, we're doing a live stream show out of a studio here locally that we're really
It's
excited about.
JCR Studios is the name,
Yeah,
but
so
it's out
that's
in like Marion, Ohio, I think.
yeah. So we're really excited about that. That's kind of so the live stream shows are kind of as close as we can get at the moment to a live show performance setting, but they've
Not
been
counting a
they've been
flatbed.
yeah.
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun so far. It's been cool kind of trying to figure out how to do some more unique performances and like finding interesting ways to kind of, stay safe and obey all the rules, but also kind of, make
Yeah.
things exciting as well.
The other thing I wanted to point out too, just who was wondering, like we didn't get, like when we did like the rally, for example, we didn't get any special treatment. We got there, we had full masks on, and we had to clean everything.
Oh, it was
I'm
great
telling
standing
you,
in that loading bay, wiping down all of our
it
equipment for half an
it
hour.
was
fun.
literally like anything that wouldn't be destroyed by the chemicals and stuff that we were using. Literally everything. Like, and we had to stay away from everybody. Like it was like we did the full everything, because I know some people might think that we, you know, did it like a normal show or whatever, but like no, that was another weird thing to get used to, was like, we can't just walk in, set our stuff up, and then go. It was just like, okay, take everything out of its case, clean it, and then you go in one at a time and set in your stuff, and then you stay away from each other, the whole thing.
I mean, it's a big deal especially when running something like that. There's a lot of things they have to worry about right now, and I'm just glad that, I mean, as much hassle as it is trying to get everything set up properly and everything like that, I'm glad that they're still pushing towards doing stuff like that, because I think it makes a difference. I mean,
It's totally worth it for sure. Like we're more than happy to do that type of stuff, because obviously we care about everybody else's well-being more than ourselves most of the time. So
right. So obviously things have changed a lot in the last few months comparatively to how everything to coming up through everything. How are you guys doing with it? Aside from you've been able to do a few things like this, but obviously this has changed everything about everything, really.
hmm yeah, I know for us, we had this year, like because I mean, how bands usually work is you have a lot of stuff planned out way ahead of time, especially
Right.
like some of the bigger opportunities. So luckily, a lot of the bigger shows that we're on have either been rescheduled or they're gonna. I know, for example, we were gonna play the Hell City Tattoo Fest here in Columbus
Mhm.
at the convention center. So for something like that, they basically were talking about rescheduling it, but they just said we'll just have you guys play next year. And then I know Launch Music Fest has been rescheduled, but they're still figuring out if they can do it in person by then. So we a lot of stuff that got rescheduled.
I don't know if you guys heard
Oh,
that, but that
yeah,
thunder just shook my house. That scared,
Yeah.
that scared me so.
I just heard that.
My whole
Oh,
room.
there it goes.
Actually,
Now I
right
just
now,
felt it.
mine's literally shaking right now.
Oh my gosh!
So-
I saw
Mine just
I
shook.
saw a
guys.
flash of lightning, and I looked out the window, and then my house shook, and I jumped. Oh man, that was, whew. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ohio weather. It was sunny
dude.
20 minutes ago.
It
Gotta
really
love
was.
Grant, I didn't know what you were saying, and then all of a sudden my house went, and I was like, whoa. Grant and I are like pretty much down the road from each other.
Yeah, we're
so
like-
that was funny.
2 neighborhoods apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in Powell, so I'm not too far from you guys, honestly. So
Yeah.
it
Oh goodness.
it was slight delayed reaction. You guys,
Yeah.
it hit you guys, and then it's like, oh, and then whoa, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
That's fun.
Wow.
Well, whatever I was saying before.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
Oh,
Um,
the change up with everything going on.
Yeah. So, a lot of the like festivals and stuff have been rescheduled, which is great. But a lot of our like ideas for just like local shows pretty much just went out the window. So
Right.
In the water.
right now we're kind of looking at stuff for like end of September maybe, but I mean everyone knows how it is. It's like, we'll plan it, and then if something doesn't end up happening, then it's okay. We'll live. But that's been kind of the challenge, is like, because nobody really knows what's going to happen necessarily, because like they could open everything back up and then it's like, okay, we'll slowly go back to normal, or there's going to be, like people are saying, a second hit of it, and then
Right.
we're just going to have to come back to the spot again. So you don't really know. So I think for us it's been good, just because we're learning how to adapt to like pretty much any circumstances now,
Right.
which will be good for like our future and stuff like that. But now we've gotten, other than trying to like book some shows for the future and just kind of see what happens, we've been getting more into like future stuff. We need to buy a van, for example. So we're trying to figure out, what does that look like? How are we going to get, money for that? Do we need to get new side jobs? What are we going to do with that?
You heard,
Right.
me, heard me say I signed up for Grubhub. Just
Yeah. So stuff like that.
fan hustle.
We came up with like new ideas for music, and we've been kind of trying to write a little bit, because we've seen each other during this, but not like in a context where we can like practice, I guess.
Right.
So how can we play our instruments on like Zoom and write music at the same time, like figuring out stuff like that. So we're still getting stuff done, so that feels good. But yeah, it's definitely different, just learning how to adapt to like the weird circumstances of what's going on right now, because it's out of everybody's control pretty much.
Yeah, especially with writing, because we usually write very collaboratively. Like all of our writing sessions have all been together in a room, kind of bouncing ideas off of one another. So to kind of shift to a place where we have to write remotely and can only really work one at a time, or with files over a video call or something like that, it's different, and it's taken a lot of adjustment. But ooh, there it goes again.
Oh my gosh.
I could hear it over the headset.
Oh man.
Good thing I closed my window.
Right?
Right next
Jeez,
to the window.
that would have been bad. I don't know how many times that's happened to me. I have the hot room of the house.
Oh, so
Same.
you
Have
always
my-
keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole second floor, it always is hotter than it is the rest of the house. So A lot of times I'll have the window open, and I've had to be a lot more mindful of that lately because I just moved, and my window always seems to be the one that gets slammed by anything. So
Well, our AC broke too. Like these
even
past
better.
couple days when it's been like
Even
really hot.
better.
Oh,
I think it was like I think just the fan motor ended up dying, but we replaced it. I think it was actually yesterday or the day before, something like that. So I had my window open. Then my dad's like, just close it because then you'll get the AC in your room. And then that happened. So I don't know how many times that's happened here because, like I said, Ohio doesn't decide what weather it wants for the day. It just kind of just happens randomly.
And it seems I feel like it's been a little bit crazier than normal the last couple of months, even just with. It seems like the weather's a little bit more sudden.
Well,
Yeah, a
yeah,
little bit
because
for sure.
Or like
I know,
snow and then hot days.
yeah, I know Hayden and I and a couple of our friends have been getting more into like skating and longboarding and all that type of thing. So we're always like trying to check the weather. We're like, because that's something we can do, but still,
Stay away from
each
people,
other.
right?
Yeah. So, we have like our little group chat. We're like, okay, it looks like it's going to rain for the next week. And then we're like, wake up. And then we're like, actually, it's 90 degrees out. Okay, let's go and try it. And then we get to the place and it's raining. We're like, okay, never mind. That's happened a lot.
So, all right, something completely off subject. Each one of you name an album that you own that the other two would probably make fun of you for owning.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Hold on.
Does it have to be a physical album?
No, well, you know what? First off, you guys are younger, so it doesn't have to be a physical album. It can be like one, but one that you've purchased digitally or something like that you have the whole album.
I'm trying to think of what you would make fun of me for.
I have the Star Wars Episode 3 soundtrack.
Nice.
See, but I wouldn't really make fun of you for that
Right,
because that's
like,
kind of dope.
There's some appreciation for John Williams. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
So
A master of the craft. I'm trying to
I
think.
have the full Game of Thrones theme downloaded. I do listen to that actively.
Oh,
Ugh.
trying to think if I have any other ones.
Oh, okay. An actual album. I have Ariana Grande.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is.
there it is.
Thank you. Next. Fire.
Fire.
No disrespect towards Ariana, but
So good.
Dude, I don't even know what you guys would make fun of me for. That's the thing.
Dude, I would make fun of you for half of what you listen to.
Well, see, I'm talking about both of you because you make fun of me for everything. So
You
I
listen
mean,
to like
That's it.
guttural slug music, like
not really.
disgusting, weird.
Dude, I
Ugh.
listen to everything.
I know, and I thought I listened to
horrible
everything
things.
until I heard what you listened to.
Look, one of the things I get made fun of for extensively, especially with metalhead friends and everything like that. I've been consistently a big fan of Dave Matthews Band over the years.
I hear that from like people that I do not expect all the time because I remember there was a long time where the logo thing. Oh my gosh.
The
So
weird
much
looking
fun.
scarecrow. It took me
Yeah,
so long
dude,
to figure out what that was. I kept
we
seeing
would
it
all
on
be
people's
together.
cars.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
the bird or the dancing the fire dancer logo thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We would be going to shows because I usually ride with Grant in the van that we have right now. And we would see that and we were like, what is that thing? Because we had no idea. And it was like literally probably like the first full year of like the band playing shows. Every single time we would see it and we'd be like, that is creepy.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that it's such a small decal that it gets like torn and ripped so easily. Like half of the cars, half of the whole logo is missing.
Right.
This makes even less sense.
Well, I thought it was like a dancer thing.
I always thought it looked like a scarecrow.
We just couldn't tell. But yeah, no, I've heard that from like there's like a really big fan base for them. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I see it everywhere.
Like I've literally within a 48-hour period of time have seen Dave Matthews Band, Slayer, and what else was thrown up there? Because I had actually, there was 3 concerts literally within like 48 hours I was at. But I can't remember who else it was. But still, the going from Dave Matthews to Slayer was a bit of a jump.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you know.
That's awesome.
Although, actually, funny thing is, I asked that album question to pretty much everybody. It's one of the ones I always try to throw in there. But would you like to make a guess to what Max Cavalera from Sepultura, Soulfly, so on and so forth, what his answer was?
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think.
It's one of the best answers I've gotten.
One of the best answers. I'm trying to think.
Uh,
Is it like Adele or something?
No, it's not Adele.
Is it like a more
Is it
popular
Joe
thing?
Chua?
Well, look, I don't want to give it away. You gotta come on, or I don't want to give it away yet.
Can we get a hint? Because that'll help me.
Can you get a hint? Canadian.
Canadian?
Oh, Justin.
Oh,
Is
it's
it a Bieber?
It is.
It's a Bieber.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Very nice.
Oh wait, which album?
Very nice.
Which album?
I can't remember. I'd have to go back to the.
It's gotta be the one. It's gotta be the one with Baby, right?
It's Baby.
It may be, but yeah, that ant. I just remember it's like, no, what, really?
Good joke. No,
man.
really.
Oh,
You're
buddy.
serious?
Although, honestly, if you guys ever get a chance to meet a Max Cavalera, super nice dude.
That's what I've heard. He seems like a genuinely cool dude.
Like always willing to talk, always super interesting stories. I mean, I always love whenever I get to talk to somebody like especially somebody I grew up listening to, and it ends up being that they're just very, very chill in general. So
That's how the guy from Jason from Fever 333 is. Because I met him, and oh my gosh, I remember because it was Sonic Temple last year when it was like super windy and
that last day when
the screen was like flying around and everyone was scrambling. They had to stop. So I was back there with our manager, and I'm like sitting there, and he's like right next to me, and I'm like, should I talk to him? And he was like, yes, just say hi. And I was like, I'm afraid. And he's like, just do it. And I was like, okay. And he was like, hey, I'm Jason. What's your name? And I was like, why are you so nice? I'm like, you threw a trash can on your head 5 minutes ago. This is insane. But no, he's super cool.
I think it's such a weird thing, especially when you start looking at it from or when it's no longer the outside looking in and you're actually part of everything. You start realizing that most of the people you meet are just that. It's people living their lives. Their lives might be a little bit different than some of the people you run into and everything like that. But I mean, I've had great conversations. I've had crappy conversations because it turns out, like people, not everybody you're going to get along with necessarily, but it's just another form of normal life. It just depends what your normal actually is.
Yeah.
I think one of my funniest stories is when I played Rock on the Range the first time with Papa Roach. I met their drummer and their guitarist, and I asked him, I was like, I'm in a band. How do you get to like the level that you're at? And they were like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know. Like, I mean, we have like people working for us, but they were just like, I don't know, bro. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They're all of them. That whole band, they every time I've ever dealt with any of them, they're also just generally chill and just nice people. So
yeah, they're awesome, man. And I saw Jacoby backstage last year, and I was like, Jacoby, and he was like, what's up, dude?
Yeah,
you know how the way he is.
Well, it's cool because like you said, since we're kind of, we're not at their level, but we still like kind of run into those type of people a lot. the majority of them are super nice because like no one wants to work with people that aren't, like you're going to get farther if you're just nicer to people and are easy to work with, which that's like been our thing. We've always said like, if we ever get to that point, we're just going to be like, our goal is just to be literally the nicest band that these people have ever worked with ever. And we like, try to give out like thank you cards to people. Like that's a thing we do at shows like almost every time, I think. That's like our main goal is to like just be the easiest people to work with on the planet so that, people remember that.
Well, yeah, that's one of our core values, as cheesy as it sounds, is to be the most positive influence in the rock genre, but we're trying to do it in the most like bad butt kind of way,
Bad, but
Yep. Bad.
Well,
But
I mean, I can absolutely vouch for knowing that that's the way you guys generally work. You guys made it so much easier and worked with us so much when we were trying to figure out all this stuff over at the Rise of the Loser Fest last year, and that was a crazy mess. And you guys made things definitely easier on us, and it's much appreciated.
It was a cool show regardless.
That was such a weird
There was
show.
fire. That's all that matters.
there was
yeah, there was fire.
Yep. I it's actually the first time I had ever done any work with a festival where the headliner just decided, nah, I'm not doing it.
Dude, we got there, we're like, oh wow, big buzz. And then we were like,
Bye,
oh.
bus.
That,
that was crazy.
that was honestly, the day actually went by smoother because they weren't there. I'll be honest.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember because Grant and I, growing up on like Radio U and stuff, have known Red for forever.
Right.
So I was like, dude, because like with me, whenever we play with like big bands like that, I don't even want to like, fangirl over them or whatever. I just want to like have just a conversation with them and just like talk to them. So I was like, I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be able to like, talk to them, ask a couple questions, whatever. And then I was like, yeah, that's their bus. We were like, why is it facing that way? Oh my gosh, they're leaving. Oh no.
That's wild, man.
What just happened? And then, I remember we walked up to you guys. We're like, hey guys. And everyone's like, ugh. And we're like, oh my, everyone's sad.
But, stuff like that happens. I mean, stuff like that doesn't happen often, but it just kind of
it happens.
roll with the punches. And I've had so many good experiences on the flip side of that, it's not, you run into it. It's weird when it happens.
It happens though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to cap things off, with all of the crazy stuff going on, the virus, all the coronavirus stuff, all the protests in our own hometown, even no less, rioting. Heck, they had things. The State House actually, windows broken. Ohio Theater got damage outside. Yeah, serious.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
I heard about
Yeah.
Minneapolis, but I didn't know it was here too.
Yeah, like last night they actually were tear gassing and macing people downtown.
Wow.
Yeah, like
because
literally.
I knew there was going to be some type of protest thing, at least from what I heard, but I didn't hear what ended up happening. That's crazy.
Actually, I don't know if you guys know John Payne. He manages. He was over there getting footage. He got maced while he was out there last night.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like people I know that this is happening to. I mean, well, that and John's well known around here anyhow, just with all the photography plus him
South
managing.
of Eden stuff.
Yeah, and just. I mean, everybody knows. Well, he was the staff photographer for 99.7 for who knows how long. But with all that stuff going on, and especially with it starting, I mean, a lot of stuff like that hitting pretty close to home. What is the one thing that you guys want to say to the people listening, going through all this stuff? I mean, because obviously people are getting stir crazy, depressed, frustrated with the world at large.
Yeah.
Dude. We obviously support Black Lives Matter, and when the whole
100%.
movement when it all the protesting started because of it was George, right?
Yeah.
Well, this time at least, because
yeah, this time.
This
Yeah.
like it's devastating. Like it's not okay, and there needs to be justice. But when you take a movement and then do the things that happened in Minneapolis, you lost your cause. You lost all respect. Like they destroyed a Target for what? Like what? Like it's like what did Target do that caused them to? It's just like Martin Luther King. You can only protest peacefully and with love and out of love, rather than through destruction, because destruction doesn't get anywhere.
well,
It,
there's
it,
there's two sides to it from what, because I've been, I've been trying to keep up with it as best I can, because, for us being straight white men, we have no idea, what it's like. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. You just don't. We're aware. But I think the problem that I've been seeing is because I agree that, because a lot of people have been saying that, like, yeah, we've tried the peaceful protest thing, but that didn't work. Like, I completely understand that. But I think a lot of the people that are doing, like, the type of vandalism and that type of thing aren't the ones that are trying to make a change. They just got that as an excuse. They're like, okay, I can go steal that TV now because people are going to be rioting and whatever. And that's a pretty small minority that have that mindset. But I agree that what's been happening outside of the virus, like just that with the George Floyd thing, is terrible, and a lot of stuff needs to change here. But the one thing I would say to everybody is just, like, for one, a lot of people need to kind of just know, like, stay in their lane. Like, everyone needs to be talking about this, I think. Like, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said, but, like, I've also seen people that have the opposite views, and then they're getting ridiculed for it, and people don't like it, and they're surprised, and it's like, I don't understand that. But, like, just know that, like, this type of stuff, like, just talking about the virus, is gonna end eventually. Because I know for me, I've been going through a lot of stuff personally outside of that's been super hard for me. And, you know, it's not easy stuff. And with it being in the quarantine, it's made it 20 times harder, because I can't, go see my friends every day, and I can't go out and work and distract myself, whatever. But there's a lot of resources for people. And I know we've said this on our, like, socials and stuff a lot, but with us working with Nationwide Children's and stuff, there's a ton of resources that you can use to help yourself. Because I know for me, and this kind of goes for all three of us, our personality types are those that are like, I'm going to help everyone else first, and I'll worry about myself later. And I know there's a lot of people, actually a lot of people in our, like, music community that are the same way. They would much rather go help somebody else than help themselves. But I think people need to realize that you can only help someone so much if you're not okay yourself, or at least close to okay. So I just would encourage everyone to go out and find something that's going to help you, whether it's, like, going on oursleeves.org and, like, looking at the videos of people that have been through the same stuff as you and how they got through it. Or is it, I know BetterHelp is something that people have mentioned before. It's like an online counseling thing. Like, is that something that's going to help you? Or is it just, like, as simple as reaching out to your friends every day and checking on how they're doing? You tell them how you're doing, whatever it is. Like, because we got to work different now. We're all stuck inside. It's completely different. So you got to kind of change your mindset of, like, okay, I'm feeling worse than normal. How am I going to fix that? And then once I know what I'm going to be doing to fix that, then I can go ahead and help other people. So it's hard. It's not easy. I'm more than guilty of doing that in the wrong order and caring about other people more than myself and not helping myself. But that's, that's probably the biggest thing I would reiterate is like there are ways to get help for yourself, and mental health is way more important than people make it, and that's kind of why we do what we do. It's not important to a lot of people still, and has a big stigma around it, but it's extremely serious. So yeah, I could obviously, as you can tell, I could go on for hours about this, but I don't want to take up your entire day.
No, I understand very much, especially coming from like the whole. I ironically enough, I'm an introverted person, which is crazy that I ever decided I'm going to start interviewing and talking with people and doing stuff that's highly social in theory. And
That's how it
but
happens.
but it's like that whole switch thing. I have a finite amount of energy. It's one of the reasons why I ignore the world at large after I go to a festival for like 3 days and do a bunch of interviews and stuff like that afterwards. Like, yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody. But I with everything being so crazy, it's been weird. There are certain aspects of my life where it's actually helped my depression, and other aspects that have hit it that much harder. Same with anxiety and everything like that. And I think a lot of people deal with that in general, and it's just adjusting to what the new normal is at this point.
Yep. And it sucks because everyone's kind of just getting used to like this whole quarantine thing, and then something like the George Floyd thing happens, and then it just throws a wrench into everything, because that's an extremely serious thing that needs to be talked about, like we said. But it's like there's just so much going on all at the same time, and you can't get away from it because you're stuck inside. What else do you have to do unless you're not paying attention,
And the crazy thing is, I feel like it's probably going to get a little bit more, well, I don't know if it's going to get worse, but I think that we're going to see more stuff like this happen, especially over probably till about the end of the year, because people are so divided right now.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part, because I don't think it's so much a matter of where people politically stand or anything like that. It's just that people are taking such hardline sides that people are getting along less and less and less and less, and unfortunately during election years that always just makes it that much worse.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I meant by the whole stay in your lane thing, or knowing your lane. What I
Right.
mean by that is like this shouldn't be a political thing right now.
No.
There's no reason to even add. That's just another layer that you don't even need to involve in this. Like this is like the lives of people and injustice that's going on. Just focus on that by itself.
Right.
Because that's the thing I keep seeing that makes me mad. Because it's like we're not, like I said, we're not in the same shoes as people that are going through that, and we're aware. But why even bring in that other layer of politics? And it's just like, okay, we're all just people, dude. Let's just like try to help each other as people, instead of like, oh, you're on the left or you're on the right and you believe this and believe that or whatever. It doesn't freaking matter. At the end of the day, nobody cares.
Right. Do what you can, help people.
Yep.
Make sure other people are doing well. Make sure you're doing well, because I think that's actually a really good point. People need to make sure to take care of themselves too, on top of everything else, because you can't really take care of yourself, or you can't really take care of other people if you haven't at least to some degree addressed taking care of yourself. So
well, and with a lot of people, including myself, when you do help someone, you kind of take on what they're dealing with.
right.
So if you're already at a really bad spot, it's just not good for you in the end.
And ends up not necessarily being good for the other person either.
Yeah.
So
because they do the same thing. They kind of take what you're dealing with. So
right.
You got to figure out yourself first.
Well, there's one bright side that's coming out of all of this, I think. All of the new music that I keep seeing hit, and people actually like writing new stuff. You're hearing about bands that barely ever release anything. It's like, oh yeah, we pretty much wrote a whole album while we've been in quarantine at this point.
Yep.
This next year is going to be amazing for music.
Yep.
That's what I've been saying, because especially at the beginning of this, we would have our meetings and we're like, dude, this is the worst thing that could happen to us right now. We're losing so much money and whatever. But I kept trying to be the optimist, and I was just like, dude, but when this is over and it goes back to normal, there's going to be so much new music, so many new shows, and everyone's going to want to go to the shows because they haven't in so long. Like, it's going to be crazy.
Like, I don't even like being in mosh pits, and I want nothing more than to be in a mosh pit right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, especially, and another thing that I thought about too is there's a lot of people that normally don't go to like local shows and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But when this gets back to normal, all of the big bands take way more time and effort and money and all that stuff to rebook tours and stuff.
Right.
But a lot of the local bands are just like, hey, venue, can I play a show? And they're like, yes, here's the ticket split. And then that's about it. So, like, people might be more willing to go to local shows because they're like, hey, I haven't really done this before, but this is kind of all that's going on right now. Let's go check it out. And then, you know, a lot of local bands will get more of a following that way too. So that's another thing I've been thinking out is like the local scene might even start to take off even more after this too.
I'm thinking so. I'm hoping so. I think that there's
It
the,
really
but
depends too. Yeah.
I mean, I know way too many people that are like, I'm gonna go to the show, or it's like, yes, I'll go to the show, local show, and everything like that. They'll be at all the big shows, but still, it drives me that drives me nuts more than anything, especially when they're friends with the bands and stuff like that, where it's like, they're people you know and they're your friends. Why aren't you going to their shows?
Well, it's like once you're in it, especially as a band, but even just as like a fan that follows a local band, like once you're in the local scene, you get it. You're like, this is like totally different, and it's like way more like person. Like the personal level of it is like you're like right there with the band, and they're no different than you. All the only difference is they're on the stage, you're not, and you're watching, but you get to like talk to them afterwards and hang out and whatever. And that's so much different than if you go see a show at like an arena, you
Right.
know. But a
Uh,
lot of people just don't know because they haven't been to it before.
Although I swear I'm gonna want to smack every single person that I hear try to ask their friend's band to get into a show for free after this.
Yeah. That's I didn't even think about that. I'm
Hey, the
not
sun's back
even
out.
ready for that.
Look,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the sun is back out for now.
Yeah.
Ohio.
We love it.
So
Yeah,
all
I
right.
didn't even think about that part though. That's oh my gosh. I'm not ready for that.
Also, Grant, was there anything you wanted to throw into that last bit, because I realized I completely skipped over you on that?
That was partially my fault. Sorry, dog.
Yeah, Reno talks for a while, so I'm used to it.
I used to not be like this. After high school, I just flipped the switch. So sorry.
No, I think, yeah, I mean, I agree with what the guys say. Obviously, it's a very with the protests and such, it's a very touchy subject. I mean, it's something that needs to be talked about. But there's a great Martin Luther King quote: "Violence in reaction to violence only furthers the darkness, and the only way to bring in the light is to bring in love." So, I mean, I know people are angry and they're upset, and this whole coronavirus quarantine is just kind of inflaming everybody's emotions, and it's making people feel worse about everything. But there's, you know, people talking about it that if you want to bring permanent, lasting change, the violence and the chaos is not going to do that. It's, you know, loving and supporting one another and the people around you and doing what you can to support the people that are being treated unjustly is going to do much more than you trying to turn around and wrong the people that are causing the injustice. So that would just be my take on that. But yeah, support the people around you and love the people that you interact with, and that's going to make a much better difference than breaking a shop window.
Yeah. Well, and the other point is just like, because including myself, there's a lot of people that are like, I don't really know what I can do in this situation, like to help, you know, the injustice and stuff. But I mean, like, it's as easy as just like, if you have any like prejudice or anything in your head, just getting past that yourself and treating people better yourself. That's like a small step, but like that still helps. Cause I, I don't know. I grew up with like, I wasn't taught that from a young age. Cause like everyone says this and I believe this to be true. You're not born racist. It's something that is learned, whether it's on purpose or not. But I didn't grow up that way, so I've tried to treat everyone equally, no matter what. But like, if you don't, and you know that you don't, even if it's like not intentional, like just getting past that yourself is still going to make a difference in this whole situation. So that's another thing I would say is like, with like, even with mental health, trying to work on yourself before you try to help other people. Like, same with that. Like, just how are you going to act differently, and how are you going to treat people differently yourself? And then it kind of will spread from there. If everyone did that, then there wouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a touchy subject. Like Grant said, I don't, I don't know all the answers here. Nobody does.
I think one thing that I am happy about is that people are at least not just sitting on it anymore. I
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah.
I think that too often people will watch bad things happen or people do bad things and not say anything because they don't want to shake the boat or anything like that. And there are
Yep.
conversations that I feel that people need to have, whether internally, externally, anything like that, but need to be addressed in some way. And and it there's at least the positive, I think, that that's happening more now, that people are less willing to just let things go, and
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. I think it's really good to see, the call for justice around the subjects and things like that, which is awesome. People willing to stand up and say, "Hey, that's not right." I think just in that it's very important for us to kind of monitor our sense of what we think justice is, because I think too often we kind of mistake justice with vengeance. I know some of what I've seen people call for, people want the responsible parties to suffer rather than the affected parties to prosper. And that switches a line, that kind of switches from justice to vengeance, which just then creates more injustice and makes the situation more complicated and worse, and divides people even further. So I think, if as long as we're careful, I think this could turn into definitely a beneficial thing in the long run. It's just at a point where it's kind of chaotic and confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I think
I was
people are
gonna.
learning right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I think that a lot of this stuff is things that people haven't really been willing to look at before, and
Yeah.
just like anything in a learning process, sometimes it's extreme knee-jerk reactions and everything like that. But what do we know as a society for dealing with it differently and still actually keeping it in the forefront of everything? I think that a lot of people, this is the first time that things are really affecting them like that. So I don't know that people know exactly what to do yet.
Yeah, no,
Well,
and it's
you
definitely
can't
a
get away
learning
from it
process.
too.
Right.
Like, this is the one time where pretty much everyone is paying attention,
Right.
because you have no choice. So, because that's another thing I've seen is like people saying, like, if you're not at least talking about it or thinking about it, then you don't have an excuse really anymore. So I agree, like, this, if it's handled the right way, this could actually turn into something, because now everybody's aware of what's going on. You have no excuse to say, like, oh, I just wasn't paying attention to the news. Like, it's everywhere now. And most people have a way of seeing that in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, the thing that Grant said too was like, not wanting to like trying to like cause the responsible party pain instead of wanting to see like the affected party prosper. I think a lot of people that have done like the vandalism and stuff kind of just equate those two things. So they're saying, well, if they're suffering, then they'll be able to prosper, because if they're suffering, they're not going to be able to do anything to the other party. But I don't think that's always the case. So I think it's like you said, it's a learning process. I think we're all learning, and people just handle it in different ways. So maybe it wasn't the right way, but like I think we could eventually get to a solution here, which is really, it's really good to know that it's a possible thing that could
Right.
happen.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing kind of the learning process unfolding even in like social media with the amount of, all the protests are happening and then the amount of people that are looking at that and going, "Hey, I don't think that's really helping anything. What's the goal here?" So seeing the amount of people on like social media and different platforms kind of observing or even being involved in the protests and things, and then looking at it in hindsight and going, wait a second, what's the point of that? How is this helping the situation? What's something else we could do that would actually be constructive? It's very encouraging to see. So yeah, I think it's a bad situation to be in, but I think there is definitely an opportunity for us to make a positive impact from it as a society.
Right.
Agreed.
All right. So we talked about a bunch of political stuff and everything like that. Before we go, anything you guys want to say? I mean, I know we kind of already hit up the whole idea of with all the craziness going on, but anything that you'd like to say personally, doesn't matter what, before we go.
I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's not only supported like all musicians, but supported us, because with the album, we kind of have had plans to release it at multiple different times, but the reception that we've gotten from it so far has been way more than we ever expected to happen ever. Like
Yeah.
on streams alone, but like people just like reaching out to us and just saying, like the fact that people have reached out to us before and said that our songs have helped them is insane to me, because that's what we want to do. But like the fact that it's actually happened is like that. Nothing drives us more than seeing that. So just I wanted to say thank you to everyone who supports us, but supports just the music scene in general. And yeah, I mean, we just hope that everyone's staying safe and healthy and everything. As far as we know, people are doing what they need to stay that way. But yeah, we're very grateful for everything that's happened for
Yeah.
us recently.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd want to say is if you're interested in checking out what we're doing or learning any more about us, plug our website real quick. We got prayforsleep.com is a good way to kind of stay up to date with what we're doing. And
Buy
then
merch, buy albums.
that would be real nice.
Yeah,
we would appreciate that. But
yeah, we need a
and then
van. So
just want to say we love you guys. We love thank you so much for the support that you've shown, and make sure you guys love one another, because that's going to be the most important thing in getting everybody through these unusual times and this weird chaotic year that we've been having. So yeah.
Yep.
And it's only May.
Right.
Yay.
Well, I'm hoping that you guys get to do some more stuff this year too, because I'd actually like to actually see you guys live again. I mean, it's been a few times and everything like that, but I know that whatever the next time that Hillary and I both have a chance to come see you guys, we absolutely will, and it'll be less nuts than the last time that both of us saw you guys live. So
A little bit.
So, but that I mean, then for anybody listening, was it June? Is it June 5th? That's
Yes.
the live stream.
Yep.
Yeah, the live stream, June 5th. I'll be posting up details and stuff like that too, and I will. While this is separate than Rock Rage or anything like that, we'll be pushing stuff on Rock Rage too. As far I know, you guys talked to another one of my buddies, Pokey Chris Jones, or one of you guys did. Yep.
I did, yeah.
Yep. So he is, even though I make fun of him all the time, I love the guy. So, but we'll be getting people links to be able to see everything live and everything. It'll be fun. I think with honestly, I've been surprised on a lot of the live stream concerts how well they've turned out for a lot of. I mean, for everybody that I pretty much watched stuff from. I don't know if you guys caught any of that Clutch show that was
I think I
fantastic.
saw a bit of it, like
That
a little
was
clip of it, but
that was great. Dropkick Murphys with that initial show they did was really, really cool. I'm a nerdy prog fan, so Devin Townsend's been doing a bunch of stuff lately, and I love
yes.
that. So uh, But well, first, thank you guys very much for spending some time with me. I was excited when I saw that I've been seeing what I have from you guys in the first place, and the PR folks you guys work with. I'm friends with them. As soon as they posted something on there, it's like, hey, I kind of want to set something up with them. Let's go ahead and do something.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. It's been fun.
It's been fun. We've been through sunny, like 2 storms and 2 sunny points while we're at
Back
it.
and forth a bit.
Like right now,
Just
I'm looking
during
out.
this interview.
Right, like I'm looking outside right now. It's super sunny, you know, and but
I
it
don't
also
even, the road doesn't even look wet anymore. What happened?
right. So
Where do we live? Like, we're just like in the weirdest zone for weather
Just
ever.
Ohio, baby.
it's just Ohio. It is what it is. It'll always be like this. Always.
What it is, what it is.
I mean, look, I'll be 38 this year. Except for maybe 2 of those years, I've always lived in Ohio, and it's
always been this way.
yeah. So
I love Ohio though. Can't get away from it.
I miss Cedar Point. I want to go to Cedar Point, but
Yeah. Yep. I'm a wimp when it comes to roller coasters, and I still love Cedar Point.
look,
That place is just so much fun.
at some point we should set up something to actually see if we can maybe bring some fans and maybe do actually like something to at like Cedar Point or Kings Island or something like that. I think that'd be cool to do. Actually, I've been wanting to try to do something like that for a while.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Dude, that's the other thing that I'm just so looking forward to is like not only playing a show, but just like hanging out with like all of our friends that come to shows, like
Right.
fans and stuff. That is like my favorite thing of all time, and that's my phone fell. But that's like the thing I'm missing the most right now. And it sounds very cheesy, but it's 100% true. I think I kind of speak for all 3 of us. That's like our favorite thing.
Yeah.
And it sucks because that's the one thing we can't do because we can't be around people.
Right. All right. Well, I will let you guys go. Have a good rest of your day. And hopefully we'll see you guys in person soon.
Yes, please.
Sooner rather than later.
I need to, as much as I'm an introvert, I'm sick of not really seeing anybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except for grocery stores, and I actually have just been getting stuff delivered because I don't like people in grocery stores right now.
Fair. I've seen enough people fight over toilet paper to not want to go back.
Yeah, good. Hard pass. I'm good. I might actually continue getting my groceries delivered after everything's back to normal.
It's convenient. I mean,
it really is. I actually spend less money because I don't buy crap that like it's like, ooh, that looks really good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's not a bad idea actually.
So
because you don't see all the stuff.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. You still buy crap you don't need because, especially if you're shopping, even if you're setting up everything online beforehand. If you're hungry while you're doing it, you're always going to buy stuff you don't actually need.
Yeah.
So
that's our last bit of advice. Eat lunch before you shop online.
Yeah.
It's important. It'll save you money. All right, man. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too,
Peace
man.
out. And
nice talking to you.
All right, nice talking to you too. And then, of course, I'll get you guys all the links to the podcast and stuff too once everything is there. So
nice.
And obviously the videos will stay up so people can go to those too. So
awesome.
Sweet.
All right, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Peace.
Peace.
Now if I can figure out how to stop this thing. There goes the live stream and